Wow, the network has been awful to say the least today. I want to sincerely apologize for that. I've done my preparation, but unfortunately, I guess some days are just like this. Now, I think you know where the network started glitching was when I made mention of at the root of stress is fear. When you check the areas in your life where you are having issues with your mental health. Okay, it has been accepted, it has been said globally that stress is the number one cause, is the number one reason why most people struggle with their mental health. And we have been able to trace the word stress to fear, because most of the area where you are stressful are areas where you are fearful. Let me say that again. If you check in your life, most of the area where you're having issues with stress are areas where you're dealing with fear. So if you're able to trace your stress to the deeper root of what is responsible for causing fear, okay, the reality is that you will succeed not just in dealing with mental health at the surface level, but in dealing with it at the root level. And today I went further, even though the network wasn't too good, to also mention that fear is not isolated. Fear is connected to something deeper. And I made mention of the book of Genesis chapter 3 and verse number 10. I've said this before, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. And so all the principles that I'm applying in helping us to deal with mental health are from the scripture as a pastor and as someone who has also struggled with my mental health and as a recovered drug addict. Over 22, 23 years, these are things, that I've walked. And in my new book, I've taken time rather to really deal with all of this. So in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 10, the first time that the word fear came up in the scripture, Adam said, "For I heard your voice in the garden and I was afraid." Number one, I heard your voice and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. I want us to check the sequence. We're going to take time to really break all of these down for the next couple of weeks. Adam said, the first time fear was mentioned, "For I heard your voice." He heard the voice of the Father, the loving voice of the Father that he used to be comfortable with, he was not afraid of. So at this point, something had happened. He had been deceived by Satan, and then he was overwhelmed with that one word that is so crucial if you're ever going to have a sound mental health. It is the word condemnation. The word condemnation. So at the deeper root of fear is that word condemnation, because what condemnation does is that condemnation opens the door to guilt. It opens the door to shame. Condemnation opens the door to rejection. Condemnation opens the door to stress. So if you are ever going to deal with your stress and have a sound mental health, first, you must be able to link your stress level to your fear. And you must be able to link the fear or the areas where you're having fear to areas where you feel the most condemned. Now, once you're able to, I guarantee you this works every time. Once you're able to trace the root of your fear to the areas where you feel condemned, and you're able to do the next thing, which we will take time to talk about next week, I tell you, you will be completely made whole. You'll be completely sound in when it comes to, your mental health. And you successfully, be able to eradicate, not at the surface, but at the root, everything that is responsible for the mental illness you've had. And this has really worked. And, these are things that have, that worked for me and that I've also used, in applying to help other people. And it is proven and tested. I hope that you find this useful. Like I said, by next week, we're going to take time to really deal with, all of these things that I've mentioned. This is how much I can really do for now. I'll see you next week. Oh, next week is actually election rather, is election. So let's see what happens, maybe up a week. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come right into your space. I hope that you find this useful. I'll see you again, and bye for now.